Greetings, everyone. This is Terry Naturally with another edition of Terry Talks Nutrition. We're here every weekend, same time, same station. Not hard to find us. If you're here now, just come on back. We'll be here. We have lots to share with you every week. Good stuff. You know, you can make such a difference in your life. You don't have to suffer. You don't have to have pain. You don't have to have infections. You don't have to have type 2 diabetes. And you can have a very, very good addition to any disease imaginable. Today, all the diseases, I like to say so-called diseases, because they're truly not. They're not diseases unless they're caused by a virus or a bacteria or a fungal infection. 98% of all of the so-called diseases that we see today that are being treated with drugs are caused by our choices, lifestyle choices. It's how we treat our body. If you buy a brand new car and you treat it well, you do all the servicing necessary, you take care of it, you maintain a good service for your car, because it's expensive, and you want to take care of it. Well, our body is the same. If you take care of your body, and it's much more expensive than your car, and it can cost you thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars if you don't take care of it. And then you have to suffer besides. You may have pain that you can't stand. Maybe your joints no longer function. Maybe you have constant infection. Maybe you have type 2 diabetes. Or all the other diseases, heart disease, liver disease, cancer. All of these conditions are only controlled by genetics being passed on from family to family in 2% of the conditions. 98% we make happen. Now, that may be hard to swallow because the drug companies don't want you to know that you can make a difference, and you can make a difference. I don't care how old you are. I don't care what condition you're suffering from. I don't care what challenges you face. You can change all that. And the body is so forgiving that you may abuse your body for decades. And then you make some drastic changes. And they will be drastic because you can't continue to eat the same diet today that has caused all your problems. And then maybe just reduce some of those or less calories, and you expect changes. You've got to make big changes. And the biggest change we need to make is to get rid of the sugar. Our sugar has gone up to 150 to 200 pounds of sugar per year for each individual. It's on a national average. I know you don't eat sugar, or you should not eat sugar. I don't eat any sugar. So somebody is consuming my average of sugar. And reduce the carbohydrates. It's been proven that a low-carb diet can change all of your so-called diseases and make you feel more positive, more vitality, more vibrant, more energy, less pain, less suffering. But you got to change your diet that it reflects a very low intake of carbohydrates, probably not more than 75 grams of carbohydrates per day. And some Americans are consuming up to 500 grams of carbohydrates per day. So sugar is the culprit. Excessive carbohydrates is the culprit. Get rid of all the grains, the bread, the pasta, all those that are made from grains or the flour of grains. And eat vegetables, fruits, good protein, all the meat you want, and the various forms of meat. Elk, bison, beef, pork, whatever. And then also seafood. And oil, high quality oil, olive oil, my favorite, macadamia nut oil, pecan oil, they're all the same. But olive oil is the best because it also contains not only the quality omega-9 fatty acid, but all the polyphenols. You can make a huge, huge difference in what you're consuming. So you can make a huge difference, a difference that you will not believe. It does not take decades. You make the right changes, you can feel the difference within 3 or 4 weeks, and you have a complete reversal in 3 to 6 months. You can regain your health at any stage of your health, at any age of your health. Don't give up. Don't live with mediocrity. You want superior, optimal health, and you can gain it. Don't lose hope, because thousands have regained their health by making these changes. Now, it takes some sacrificing. It takes some discipline, because now you're going to be eating more protein and more high-quality fats like butter, like cream, like lard, like bacon grease, duck fat, all the fat on meat. If you want that, if you don't like it, then cut it off. But if you like the fat, don't strip it away. You can eat the chicken skin, all the good fat. Just don't fry everything. You can bake, you can broil, all these good ways to make really good quality meats, chicken, seafood, salmon, eggs. Oh, eggs, meat and eggs contain 23 vitamins and minerals between the two. There are no two there's no two plant foods that contain that many vitamins and minerals. And all plant food has fiber. So you have to break down the fiber, which takes some time, to be able to extract the nutrients out of the plant food. When eggs and meat are extremely easy to break down and digest, and all the nutrients can be extracted out very easily and be absorbed systemically. So you get more out of meat and eggs than you do out of plant food. All the things that the government says we should be doing as a dietary intake, just flip it over and do the opposite. All they're doing is trying to make all the drug companies, all the food manufacturers happy. They don't care about us. They don't care about nutrition for us. The drug companies don't care about us. They want sick people. That's their customer. And the FDA doesn't care, because they're also working with the drug companies. Food manufacturers, they make cheap food, man-made, manufactured in a laboratory. Not good for us. So we really need to make some changes. If any of the food that is plant food that bothers you, and you can tell, don't eat it. Eat the foods that you feel better with after you've eaten the food. You don't want acid reflux. You don't want to be having heartburn. You don't want to be burping up foods. You don't want to have indigestion. Just take a look at what you're eating and why you have indigestion. And then all of the sugar and carbohydrates, all that sugar has to be burned for energy in the cell. But we eat so much of that sugar and carbohydrates that we have so much sugar in our bloodstream and not enough insulin, and we have also insulin resistance caused by obesity. So obesity is the forerunner of many, many of our diseases today. It's not because we have bad luck. It's not because God is mad at us. It's not because we were not born under the right stars. It's because we are doing the wrong things personally. We're eating the wrong food. We're making the wrong choices. We don't do any exercise. We don't do any walking. If you would walk as a form of exercise, and reduce your diet, I just wrote a blog on how to be healthy at any age. Optimal wellness. Go to my website, Terry Talks Nutrition. It's not quite posted yet. It'll be posted next week. TerryTalksNutrition.com. And if you want a copy of it, I can send you a copy of it. Just send me your email address and say, send me how to live longer and better and healthier. And I'll send you what I believe is the best way to take care of your health and what you need to do in order to obtain that and not have type 2 diabetes, not to be a pre-diabetic. You take control of your health. No one else will. No one else is going to help you. You're on your own. Oh, I'll be happy to guide you. I'd be happy to give you some suggestions. But you've got to take charge of your health. Your doctor will not. Your doctor doesn't even know how to have his own health or her health. They only teach about 4 hours of nutrition in all the years of med school. No one has knowledge of it. And the drug companies, they know what you're going through, but they don't want to tell you. And the food manufacturers don't want to tell you because they make a lot of food loaded with sugar and refined carbohydrates because it's cheap, inexpensive, but it's killing Americans. Not overnight, but in time. All the sickness and diseases. We didn't have a life like this 50 years ago. Our whole lifestyle is changing since the 60s and the 70s. Don't be afraid of eggs. Don't be afraid of butter. Don't be afraid of good quality fats like olive oil and macadamia nut oil or pecan oil. All these oils are good oils. Get rid of the seed oils like the soybean oils, the corn oil, the soybean oil. These are all bad oils. They're rancid, they're not stable, they're unhealthy. But they're cheap. And that's why they find these types of oils in the food, ultra-processed foods, the boxed foods, the packaged foods. They're all the man-made foods. They're not based on nature or natural processing. So we have a lot to do today, so I better get off my bandwagon and get things going. We're going to talk about how to stop bacterial infections. We're going to also take a closer look at triglycerides, the bad fat. That is the bad fat. And you know where it comes from? The triglycerides are made from carbohydrates and sugar. When people have a very high level, and it should be at about 150 milligrams per deciliter of blood. I have talked to people, they're up to 600, 700, not 150, but it's all based on carbohydrates. Get rid of the carbohydrates and your triglycerides will come down. We'll talk about a deadly liver disease, hepatitis, and we'll talk about iron. Iron is a nutrient of the day. And how can we stop increasing rates of urinary tract infections? Very common in women. I think all women will, at one time or another, have a urinary tract infection, bladder infection, kidney infection. And some have it quite often. And then how can we kill the cancer superbugs? Well, we have a lot more on the agenda, and I don't think I ever get through the whole thing anyway. So let's just jump in and do something constructive and how to stop bacterial infections. You know, bacteria are living. They're live. They grow. They're fed. They are free living cells that can exist inside and outside of the human body. If harmful bacteria settle into the body, they can replicate and kill healthy cells and healthy tissues, or generate toxins that destroy cells. And you know what feeds bacteria? What keeps them going? Sugar. Sugar feeds bacteria. But not all bacteria are bad. There are good bacteria living in our intestines, and they play an important role in normal digestive functions. There are some common conditions, illnesses caused by bacteria, like urinary tract infections, food poisoning, skin infections, cellulitis, infection. Some types of pneumonia are caused by bacteria. A small amount of cold and flu is caused by bacteria, only about 2%. Otherwise, the cold and flu are caused by a virus. But there is a small segment that is caused by bacteria. And then also respiratory infection, ear infections, especially in kids. And you know, we have antibiotic resistance, like insulin resistance. The bugs grow stronger, and they withstand antibiotic treatments. The doctor prescribes an antibiotic. Didn't work. And that is very, very common. It doesn't work. It's not strong enough. It's the wrong type. Yes, the wrong type of antibiotic to kill bacteria. Every year, over 2.8 million people get sick from bacterial infection. And of that 2.8 million, 35,000 people die from antibiotic-resistant infection. The bugs have gotten too strong, and our body's too weak, and our immune system too ineffective. Antibiotic resistance just means that harmful bacteria are immune to commonly prescribed drugs. The doctor didn't prescribe the right one. Some people have told me they took 2 or 3, didn't work. And the doctor prescribed a different one, bang, it worked. But don't get sick first. You don't have to go through all that. Keep your immune system strong. So when your immune system is prescribed a drug used to kill off the bacteria, now these bacteria are also known as superbugs. They've gotten stronger under your weaker condition. And the antibiotics are not strong enough anymore to kill the bugs. Staphylococcus, or MRSA, 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 is a commonly experienced resistant bacterial infection. And it's really, truly, it's often acquired in the hospital while you're being treated for a different health problem. And you come down with MRSA. Hospitals are not clean as you would like them to be clean. MRSA often affects older adults because the aging process weakens the immune system. Their health is not as strong as it once was when they were younger. And when you have MRSA, the death rate, the mortality rate, can be as high as 30%. That is a very high rate, and we'll learn how we can reduce that in just a moment. Now, there are some things that we really can use to kill bacteria. A natural form. Now, there are some natural essential oils that are very, very powerful in reducing bacteria. And I would think it's probably the best thing to do. I'm going to tell you about 4 or 5 essential oils. Yes, you can swallow essential oils of the right kind. Not all essential oils can be used orally, but some can be used very, very nicely orally, like cinnamon oil. And when they tested cinnamon oil against drug-resistant bacteria, including E. coli, cinnamon oil had a greater potency than 3 commonly prescribed antibiotics. Stronger than the antibiotics, at least 3 of them. And when combined with the antibiotics, cinnamon oil increased their effectiveness by up to 8 times. The drug became 8 times more effective when it was combined with cinnamon oil. Thyme, T-H-Y-M-E, the herb thyme, and oregano were found as effective against 15 different strains of harmful bacteria. In the research I ran across, thyme can kill 90% of all the bacteria, also including MRSA, E. coli, and 16 strains of yeast, including Candida. In a test involving and evaluating the antibacterial effects of 6 different plant essential oils against 25 different bacteria, the most effective was thyme, oregano oil, clove oil. So take a combination of cinnamon oil, thyme oil, clove oil, and oregano oil, and about 75 milligrams of the combination. Very, very effective for killing off bacteria. Now, if the doctor has prescribed an antibiotic, that's something you and your doctor should discuss. I'm not telling you not to take an antibiotic. If you need an antibiotic, that definitely should be a good choice. But also you can kill off bacteria very easily with the essential oil combination I just suggested. Cinnamon oil, thyme oil, oregano oil, clove oil. And what I do personally, I brush my teeth twice a day, in the morning and at night, and I have made myself an oral rinse. And what I do is I add thyme, oregano oil, clove oil, and cinnamon oil to an 8-ounce bottle of olive oil. And I add it in a very specific ratio. And then I use that every morning with an eyedropper, putting in a half of an eyedropper in my mouth, swish that oil around my mouth while I'm showering, and then eventually I either swallow it or I spit it out. But that'll kill all the bacteria in your mouth. And we have a lot of bacteria, harmful bacteria, in our mouth. And the more harmful bacteria that we have orally, the more and higher risk we have of cardiovascular disease, heart disease, the bacteria of the mouth. And if you have anything like a cavity or a loose tooth or some other condition, all that bacteria can leak into your bloodstream. So make sure your mouth is really clean. And I don't have to use alcohol in any kind of a mouthwash. I use my olive oil mouthwash, which also is very high in cinnamon, thyme, clove, and oregano oil. So use a good essential oil mouthwash. It'll be a little bit sharp because cinnamon is, it's spicy, and some of the other oils as well, but it really feels clean and nice, really refreshed, and it works extremely well. Now I want to talk to you about triglycerides. Cholesterol is not the enemy. We need cholesterol. Cholesterol is not going to kill us. We make our hormones from cholesterol. But triglycerides is not a natural fat. Cholesterol is a natural waxy fat. And I believe that the Creator who made our body would not have instilled a mechanism of action to make cholesterol if it was bad for us. That wouldn't make any sense. So our body makes cholesterol. You could never eat enough to have an effect on our cholesterol levels. So don't shy away from eating cholesterol. And the lower the cholesterol you have, the more damage you have in your body. 50% of the heart attacks are caused in people that have low cholesterol. Cholesterol is good. It gives us our energy levels. It gives us testosterone, estrogen, the way it should be. I've got to pause, my friends. We're at the bottom of the hour. It's time for me to take a short break so the station can identify itself and also play some commercials, and I'll be right back. Lots more to tell you, a lot of good information. Stay tuned. I'll be back. This is Terry Naturally with Terry Talks Nutrition. And welcome back, my friends. We're back here with Terry Talks Nutrition. I'm Terry Naturally. We have a whole lot more to go today, up to the top of the hour. But we've got some really good, I think, excellent information that everyone should know. So, talking about cholesterol and triglycerides. Cholesterol is a natural nutrient made by the body. It is so critical because it's a precursor for making our hormones in the right levels and the right ratios. And also it builds the structure of every cell in the body. It makes vitamin D in the body. But it means getting your cholesterol checked usually means looking at 3 specific fats. You know, LDL and HDL is not cholesterol. They're proteins. They carry cholesterol. LDL means low-density cholesterol. HDL means high-density cholesterol. And triglycerides is based on just storing unused calories. So when the calories cannot be burned, the sugar, the carbohydrates cannot be burned by insulin, it's stored. And it's stored as triglycerides. So the more triglycerides you have, the more harm you do to your heart and your cardiovascular system. High triglyceride levels. More strong, listen to this. High triglyceride levels will more strongly predict all future health problems than cholesterol will ever do. Cholesterol is not associated with health problems, with health overall, and especially total cholesterol levels. You know, years ago, the proper level of cholesterol based on the CDC was 300. Then they dropped that to 240. And now it's 200, and I have many people that tell me they go to their doctor and it's 200. Oh no, we got to get lower. They think lower is better. Lower is better. There's a balance in life. There's a balance in nature. There's a balance in finance. There's a balance everywhere. Just dropping too low is worse than being too high. We need a high level of cholesterol, not a low level of cholesterol. And research has followed more than 15,000 people with heart disease for 22 years. And versus people with low triglyceride levels, those that had high triglyceride levels had a 68% increased risk of death over the study period. Death overall. Not from one reason, but just overall death increased by 68% when there was a high triglyceride level. Those that had a high triglyceride level, those were the ones that had the highest risk of just dying. And if you want to know whether or not you have a good triglyceride level, find out what your triglyceride level is and divide it by the level of HDL. So divide your number of triglycerides, let's say it's 600, and you divide it by your HDL. And what number should you have? Less than 2. The number that you come up with when you divide your triglycerides with your HDL should be less than 2. Now, in a separate study, a 25-year study, including 14,000 people, women with high triglyceride levels were 5 times more likely to die of a heart attack or heart disease than those with a low triglyceride level. Why are triglycerides, especially high triglycerides, a problem? And what can we do about it? When you have high triglyceride levels, it damages the blood vessels, hardening of the arteries, not cholesterol. They just found a way to treat cholesterol with drugs because it was at 300. Remember I told you about that? Then 240, then 200. Why are they dropping it? Why are they needing more examination of lower cholesterol? Because that increases the population of those that could be prescribed a drug for lowering. When 300 was fine, well, yeah, we're probably treating 20 million people. Oh, let's drop it to 240, then we can treat 40 million people. Then we drop it down to 200, we're probably now being able to treat 60 million people. The more people available to be treated, just follow the money. So triglycerides can also build up in the liver and can lead to fatty liver disease. And it's also associated with diabetes type 2, prediabetes, and the entire metabolic syndrome. Now, find out your number. Divide the triglyceride number by the number of the HDL, your HDL, and it should be below 2. So if you want to treat your triglycerides, what do? The herb berberine, B-E-R-B-E-R-I-N-E, berberine. In a 3-month study of 32 patients taking berberine, triglyceride levels were reduced by 35%. Even people at a low risk of heart disease. Berberine reduced the triglycerides by 11% and increased the HDL by 9%. In 116 people with type 2 diabetes, berberine for 3 months reduced triglycerides by 36%, A1C by 12%, and blood sugar levels by 20%. Berberine is a really excellent natural botanical extract that can manage your lipids, your fats. Now, you combine that with a low sugar intake, a low carb diet, with adequate proteins, healthy fats like olive oil, and some greens, some vegetables, maybe a cup of broccoli, or maybe a half a cup of asparagus, and your protein might be excellent on salmon, 6 to 8 ounces of salmon, a really healthy, low-carb meal and diet, along with berberine, it can change your life. Berberine is a natural compound from plants, so it's not synthetic. Now, some of the plants are called barberry, Oregon grape, golden seal. Berberine is a fat-soluble and very poorly absorbed. Some studies report that absolute bioavailability of berberine is as little as 1%. 1%. Dosage in clinical trials typically 500 milligrams 3 times daily. But now there is a new one out on the market, berberine with gamma-cyclodextrin. Gamma-cyclodextrin was discovered 125 years ago to improve the absorption and bioavailability of drugs. It's a natural substance. It's a natural process. There are no side effects, no known side effects after 125 years. It increases the absorption of very poorly absorbed compounds. So like a 250 milligram berberine compared to 1,500 milligrams of berberine with gamma, the 250 milligrams with gamma, in research I've seen increases up to 9 times. So 9 times 250. So you only need 1 capsule per day versus 3 capsules per day. More effective with less dosage. Now we talked about deadly liver disease, fatty liver disease, and hepatitis. Hepatitis is still a serious, serious disease. Every day, 6,000 people worldwide are diagnosed with hepatitis B or C. That's a viral infection that damages the liver. The form B, hepatitis B, letter B, is usually a very short-term infection, but still it can become chronic. So you got to be careful. Don't let it get out of hand. Hepatitis C, like Charlie, is the most common cause of liver disease, and up to 85% of people infected with this virus will develop chronic liver disease. There are some new drugs that have been developed to treat hepatitis C. But hepatitis B is very difficult. B like in boy. Hepatitis B is more difficult to treat. Sometimes symptoms of hepatitis are vague or similar to other diseases. And hepatitis isn't diagnosed until the disease is quite advanced. Don't let it get out of control. If you suspect anything, see your doctor. So how to protect your liver before you have hepatitis, before you have a virus? The herb Andrographis, Andrographis, Andrographis. It's a very powerful herb for the brain, for the liver, for cold and flu. It's a very, very bitter herb. You'll never drink it as a tea. You'll never drink it as a beverage. It's very difficult to put it into tablets because you can smell it right through the tablets. In capsules, it's the best way to take it. It's the king of the bitters. And all bitters are good for the digestive tract, for healing, for infection. And when you take when you take Andrographis for cold or flu, you'll improve the cold and flu 50% within the first 2 days and 100% in 4 days. Because Andrographis has significant antiviral effects and has been shown effective against almost all the viral illnesses. Influenza, Epstein-Barr virus, HIV, herpes virus, or herpes infection, kidney and bladder infection, any kind of infection, basically caused by a virus. Andrographis is also effective against the virus which causes hepatitis and has been shown to boost the activity of conventional drugs used to treat hepatitis. So you have bonuses. If the infection is not severe, Andrographis may be able to take care of itself. But if you need a drug, a conventional drug, Andrographis even makes it more effective. In a clinical study in India, 20 patients with hepatitis were treated with Andrographis. It was a tonic, a liquid, for 24 days. At the end of the 24 days of treatment, all patients had complete disappearance of yellowing of the eyes, yellow urine, fever, abdominal tenderness, and nausea and loss of appetite. most of the patients, 80% or more, also had complete recovery from weakness, depression, and constipation. So for liver support, a good combination of herbs, because when you combine several herbs together, you get a synergistic effect. Some of the antigraphis, some of the OPCs from French grapeseed, some of the milk thistle affect different pathways in the body, different genes in the body. So you're getting like a pharmacy effect because you're putting together many good herbal extracts that can have a greater impact, a greater effect. So for a good liver support, take about 200 milligrams of antigraphis, 100 milligrams of OPC from French grapeseed extract, and 100 milligrams of milk thistle twice daily. And you can even add more. There is no side effects to any of the combinations that I just mentioned. The antigraphis, the French grapeseed extract, and milk thistle. If you can find a formula of all these three in a capsule, would be a liver support product to improve the body structure and function of the liver and reduce all of the side effects of the infection, and sometimes even with the drugs to treat the infection. You know, iron has gotten a bad rap. There was a small study, very, very flawed, a very poor study that indicated that iron would would cause heart disease. But iron does not. It's gotten a bad rap. You'll never find a multivitamin and mineral supplement today that I'm aware of that contains iron, because everybody is afraid of it. But we can't live without it. And there are many reasons why we need iron. And it's especially iron deficiency is not often recognized in women. It goes unrecognized when women need iron optimally. And there is some debate about the level of iron that would be an optimal level for women. But studies have found that up to 77% of menstruating women are iron deficient. 77% of menstruating women are iron deficient. Iron is used for hemoglobin, the protein in blood cells, which carries oxygen from the lungs to the rest of the body. But iron is also required for cellular function and hormone production. When iron levels fall, the body prioritizes where it should be used. Iron for blood cells at the expense of other body systems. So someone could have a normal blood level of iron, but actually be iron deficient. Heavy menstrual bleeding is one of the primary causes of iron deficiency in young women. Women past menopause are rarely iron deficient. And you get plenty of iron from both eggs and meat. But you may want to take an iron supplement. During their reproductive years, women should consider getting their iron levels checked, especially if you have symptoms of low iron levels, like brain fog, chronic fatigue, shortness of breath, and a pale complexion would be all signs of an iron deficiency. So how do you choose an iron supplement? Well, avoid ferrous sulfate. It's very poorly absorbed and frequently causes constipation and bloating. Your stool gets dark colored, very hard to evacuate, and 50% of the people prescribed a supplemental ferrous sulfate stopped taking it because of the adverse effects. So if you don't take it, nothing happens. But it's one of the worst ones to try to be absorbed. So look for heme iron from liver extract. Most of bioavailable form up to 33% absorption versus 2% for less for iron, like iron sulfate or ferrous sulfate. Very well tolerated. Few of any adverse effects. Low dosage effects from an animal source. Look for chelated iron. It raises hemoglobin and ferritin levels. Not as well absorbed as heme iron, but still 3 to 4 times more bioavailable than iron salts. Significantly fewer issues with adverse effects, especially regarding bloating and constipation. And it's the preferred form by most patients. And when they did comparison trials, it was the one that was selected by most of the patients. But then I think I would also consider lactoferrin. I talked about lactoferrin last week. It's a milk protein. It does not contain iron, but it increases iron absorption because iron is very difficult to be absorbed. Even one of the best imaginable is very difficult to be absorbed. It's a heavy metal, hard to be absorbed. Not a bad metal, but it's hard to be absorbed systemically. Lactoferrin actually increases the iron absorption. How to kill cancer supercells. Here's another reason why we want to use Andrographis. Andrographis is one of my most favorite herbs of all. It's like a tonic to the body. Everybody just feels better on it, better digestive tract, better liver function, better brain function, better immune system. It's a tonic. And many scientific studies have found that the herb Andrographis kills super cancer cells. Now, researchers at the City of Hope Cancer Clinic have found that Andrographis can also kill cancer supercells, cancer cells resistant to chemotherapy. The researchers tested a standard chemotherapy drug called 5-FU. F like Frank, U like utility. FU, 5-FU. Whether alone or in combination with Andrographis, 3 ways here's how it works. In a cell-formed human colorectal cancer, the combination was better at killing cancer cells than chemotherapy alone. In animal tissue, Andrographis and 5-FU were more potent together than 5-FU alone. In tissue grown from human colorectal cancer tumors, the combination was much more effective at killing cancer cells, including chemotherapy-resistant cancer cells, than was 5-FU by itself. You know, drugs are just one molecule. They affect one gene, one pathway. Where plants, like Andrographis, grapeseed extract, or others, they contain many, many molecules, hundreds of molecules, maybe thousands of molecules that affect a variety of genes, a variety of pathways. So it has a much greater power to affect all of these pathways because cancer is not caused by one pathway. It's caused by a variety of pathways. But drugs only affect one individual pathway. So Andrographis works extremely effectively by itself, better than 5-FU. But 5-FU in some cases may have a benefit. When you combine Andrographis with 5-FU, it was much more effective. But sometimes your doctor doesn't want anyone to use natural herbal products with their drugs that they have prescribed. But let me tell you, all the research done at City of Hope has proven that as you add botanicals, high quality, well standardized botanicals with the drug becomes far, far more effective at a lower dose, less toxic to the liver and to the brain cells, and gets a better job done together, the drug and antigraphis. So the two married together do a better job. So talk to your doctor to see if they will not allow you to use it, or make your own decision as whether or not you want to use it. The best way to do. And with that, my friends, this weekend has gone by fast, and this hour has gone by way, way too fast. But anyway, I'll be back every weekend, same time, same station. You can always join me right here on Terry Talks Nutrition. I'm Terry Naturally. And with that, say a prayer for this crazy, crazy world. God bless you, my friends, and God bless this great country.
Thank you for listening to Terry Talks Nutrition Weekly Show. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform, including Apple, Google, and iHeartRadio.